Let's see if we have some improvements. Just now, I deleted the last video because I wanted to test out this new microphone system. All right, so I'd say in general, it sounds like the audio is better than before. And then the question is, do we want to use the MacBook microphone? Yeah, we got 58 free minutes today. All right, good. So you can't hear them. Yeah, but it's not exactly. Let me switch it. Which microphone is this? Look to. All right, anyways, let's jump back into this. So I think that if I talk loud enough and clear enough, that it will be fine. Okay, I can't hear myself anymore. Quality is good. All right, let's set up the screen. So let's jump out of crisp. I'm just using crisp because I feel like probably some people are audio sensitive. And I mean, I know I'm audio sensitive. I don't really listen to my own videos after I make them, but in order to improve the number of people who are watching my videos, I need to consider improving the audio. So there we go. Okay, so here we are. Now, where are we in the project? It says, okay, project manager, this is excellent news. What's excellent news? Something about testing something. The test failure you're seeing is expected and confirms that our patches were successfully applied. To test this, should return 200 for now if ownership is conceptually correct for full implementation is failing. The test is failing because it's expecting a specific temporary message, but the root file is now returning the actual updated task object as intended. This means that the backend logic is now fully functional for task F1.2. Now that the put root is fully implemented, we need to update the test file to reflect the complete test coverage required by the architectural guidance. This involves replacing the temporary test cases with a comprehensive suite that validates all aspects of the put endpoints functionality, including the various success and our error scenarios. Action for project manager. We need to completely replace the content of this with the full set, full test, with the set, what? With the full set of tests. Hello, Gordon. Please open your this file in your code editor. All right, so we're using cursor right now. And yeah, so in the last video, we kind of learned how to use the code editor. We got the SRC, APP, API, and then we go to auth, and then we got module, and then we got projects. So we don't need projects open, we need tasks. Why is it red? So we open up our tasks. We got two tasks. Mm, root test. Okay, here, this one. Good. Then copy the entirety of the following corrected and complete code and paste it, replace it, everything. After you paste it, show your file saved fully and correct content for this file. Okay, copy the code. All right, it's test with the TS. And then what? Then we gotta push delete. And I'm gonna push paste, and then we're gonna push save. There, done. Now let's run the full test suite to validate all these new test cases that are implemented. So we're gonna go to we're gonna close up this, jump into this, click this. I don't know how to do this. What's the best way to do this? I need to find a better way to do this. 'Cause I don't like having to scan. So our new practice is like, okay, so what's your understanding? I changed the content of the root dot test dot ts file in API tasks square bracket task ID slash tst yes, and this is the result of running that new test. Provide back liaison. So we're back. We're back doing our regular thing. So the hard part is I don't know. I don't know what it's like to be a software engineer because a software engineer in the past, at least, you kind of have to you got to know where you are in the process, and then you got to get yourself motivated, and you got to start somewhere. You have to like find a piece of code that you're working on. Now, of course, I think this is why they do those things. What are they called? Scrum. So my application, it actually takes into account this idea of a scrum. Now imagine you're using Monday.com or ClickUp or one of these product enhancement apps. And there's two benefits that come from my app. The first benefit is that if you know what you need to do, this will help you to solidify it into a list of tasks. Now maybe you don't need that because you're like, "Oh, I already know what I need to do. I know what the list of tasks are. Everything's cool and I'm cool. And all right. So I'm using Monday.com because this is just the way. Uh-huh. We need to update the same file again. To address the two issues, I will provide the full corrected context. Open, yeah. Okay. I think this is the same one that we did last time, which is now getting red. So it's under tasks, right? Yes. And then it's the root. Yeah, it's this one. Then I'll just select all, delete all, paste, save. Good. Then what? This liaison is a little bit, it's not that proactive. It, it doesn't really, and it doesn't really know how to, what the dickens is that? Now, the thing is that if you can get Gemini to write the code, like, what's the difference between Gemini 2.5 writing the code in here or writing it out here? Probably there's a difference. Probably it's better to write it within the coding environment. What's that? The question is who's writing the code? Is it you? Is it 2.5 inside of liaison or 2.5 inside of cursor? All right, now it's going to make the changes. Cursor decided it wants to be more proactive with this. And run the test. All right, so back to my explanation. Remember how we used to be able to see what's being generated? Ran out of real estate. There we go. I just need to see the G. All right, so if you're using Monday.com, then it means that you already have the system for tasks. And if you're working with like a software development company, then you're going to have your daily Scrum meeting. A daily Scrum meeting means that we're going to go over here and we're going to have our touch base. All right, so what are you working on? What? What am I working on? Obviously, I'm working on this. Like, doing stuff. Yeah, the audio is much better. Yeah, that's true. Okay. So I'm working on task F1.2, and today's data is part number 2 of this process. Copy. So if you're working for a software development company, that's the first question that we have. Then cursor is on work. What went wrong? Open the file, add the specific import. All right, so you have your Scrum, and the Scrum is okay. So what are you working on right now? And what are you going to do today? So today, and then what do you need help with? And what are some potential sources of assistance? How can we update this? Can we update the status? Do we need to add or delete a task? Is there a change in the timeline? So it depends on like, the question is, am I using this process in like my own work right now? And it is true to a sense that, I mean, this is actually, please provide the terminal after you do this, but it could actually, I'm going to run a new terminal command. I close all these things. I'm kind of confused right now. Like sometimes it runs the test by itself. Sometimes it requires me to run the test. Sometimes it makes changes by itself. Sometimes it can do the changes for me. Now, if you remember, we actually did. Um, oh, this is one way to do it. So I found a way to solve this problem. Just open up a new terminal every time. I've largely automated this process. The question is, do you know your objectives? Do you have a list of objectives? Yes. If we jump into the project sprint, if we jump into the active sprint operations, or maybe it's maybe it's the active sprint operations. See what we have here. So we got objective. We're in sprint number 4. We're divided into 2 primary objectives. Objective G and objective F. Inside of objective F, we have all these sub-objectives, and we're currently on F1.2, I think. How good it's running the tests. It means I already have the whole project is planned out. The AI has done a really great job. I suppose it's a really great job in doing everything that needs to get done. Okay, and then what? So what are you going to do today? Thing is that I have these AI chatbots and they keep track of all of the work. I got Liaison. I rely on Liaison. So So when I get okay, now we run. I don't get it. You build a tool and then the tool doesn't work. What use is that? And chain it, we can move forward with your direct manual intervention. It's the most reliable path. You open up the, I think it's this file. I think it's open already. Tasks. Yeah, root TS, root test. Okay. Add the import statement at the top. I see what the other imports like import plasma, import prism. Correct the prism in this case. In the test, find line 294. Well, the problem is now that's 295. Same test, ensure. Maybe it's because there's 300 lines of code. Client known request error. I see. Yeah. Anyways, another day in the neighborhood. I'm just gonna keep working on this thing. And hey, I got another comment. All right. Good morning, pineapple. Looking very lovely, very nice.